My name's Gabriel Toretta. I'm a first-year PhD student here at the University of Chicago. I study the history of Christianity at the Divinity School.
My name is Robert, and I'm a second year at the college, and I study comparative literature.
My name is Sophia. I'm a fourth year, and my major is philosophy.
What I really loved about the intensive course is I didn't realize that I needed to study German until the end of my first year. And this course really gave me the opportunity to learn so much German as quickly as possible. And I just really loved how now I can read a novel in German, and I'm just really proud of that. And because I've taken this course, I can do stuff like read German philosophy starting next year.
I think the intensive course is really valuable even if you're not trying to learn German, even if you don't have a time constraint like I did, because I actually think you learn a lot more with more hours per week than you would if you were doing the regular course. Like the language really stays in your brain better when you learn it in a more intensive way.
Well, it might sound obvious, but I liked the pace. I liked the speed. I liked that we were able to go from sort of zero to going pretty fast in a pretty short period of time. I found myself in a kind of impossible situation where I realized that once I got to the university to start my PhD, I really needed to have known German a couple of years ago. And so I had to learn it as quickly as possible. And the University of Chicago gave me the means to do that. I started studying on my own. I jumped in the winter quarter into a different level of program. And then that got me ready for the third quarter to jump into the intensive course, to fire up everything that I had learned, everything I had crammed into my head on my own, and really get it out there, help me understand, help me to speak, help me to listen. I couldn't be more grateful.
With this class, I'm able to now participate in a study abroad program that the University of Chicago offers. In this program, I'll be in Berlin, specifically in Germany, taking all of my classes in German, reading that German philosophy that I've been dying to read my whole life, and I wouldn't be able to do that without this incredible course.
Yes, I'm very interested in German philosophy, so I'm hopefully going to continue learning German and then use that in my studies, maybe translating some German philosophers or just interacting with German philosophers that also study what I'm interested in. And there's a chance that I'll go to Leipzig this summer to continue my German education and also interact with some German philosophy that I'm very interested in. So that's very exciting, and I'm really grateful for this course for allowing me to do that, because there's no way I could have done it if I was only at a first year level.
I will say the first two quarters are very intense and very difficult. It's lots of memorization, lots of vocabulary, but that's just the pain of learning languages. What I would say is most beneficial is being able to learn how to speak for yourself. Then finally, in that third quarter, when you can really express yourself and your opinions, we were able to talk about shame and responsibility in post-World War II Germany, and it was just a really interesting discussion.
I think reading literature and seeing German literature and seeing German films that were really good in their own right, they weren't just materials for students who are learning German that aren't interesting artistically, that was really valuable. And I learned a lot about German culture that way, and talked about some really interesting philosophical and historical cultural issues. And so that was a really valuable experience, and it made me love German a lot more, to read things in German that were really good. So that was really nice.
From the beginning, I knew that I was going to be studying in Germany over the summer, and to get the most out of it, I wanted to have the highest level of fluency I could before I started. But I was really starting from almost nothing, so the intensive course and all the work and studying that I did here really got me up to a very high level, relatively speaking, so that I could get the absolutely most out of this coming summer, which I'm extremely excited about. After this summer, German is going to be a major part of the scholarship that I do, the way that I read, what I write, how I engage with past sources, how I engage with current ones, how I deal with academic conferences and fellow scholars. So it's going to be a major part of my life, and I feel like I really needed this foundation.